Well, welcome to my home tonight. Tonight we're going to be cooking up some fresh elk liver and onions. Now, I'm a fan of my Traeger, and 99% of the time I cook outside, but for this, one of my most favorite meals in the whole world, I can't get away from using my trusted cast iron pan. So tonight we're going to be cooking inside. We're going to be, we were blessed with a successful harvest. My son took this calf elk with his bow and arrow this year, and as you can see, he's already carved into it a little bit. I was out of town and he couldn't wait for me, which I don't blame him, but being a good son that he was, he left me a generous portion of this fresh elk liver, and we are going to take it tonight. We are going to bread it in some flour with a little seasoning, salt, pepper, a little garlic powder, and a little bit of sage. And then we're going to let him cook nicely with some onions that are out of the garden this year. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get the onions going. I find it best to cook them first. I like to get the oil all onion flavored. I know some people will do this in reverse, but this is my method, and I've found it over the years. This is the way I like it the best. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this onion here, and we're just going to introduce him into our hot oil, and he's going to start cooking a little bit. I got him on medium heat. We'll probably have a little bit of splatter here and there. As he gets ready to cook down, we're going to go ahead and put a lid on him, and we're going to let him cook. And while he's cooking, we're going to slice up this tasty morsel of elk liver. Alright, so I'm back. I got a little distracted. Never fails. As soon as you start something, somebody calls you or comes to your house to bug you. So, didn't get a chance to get into carving them up yet, but I did look in on my onions, and they are almost absolutely perfect. So what we're going to do is just going to go ahead and take them, give you a little bit of showing what those look like. I go on just under the caramelization look. I like them translucent, a little bit of crunch in them. Still got the good flavor. These are about a minute or so from taking off. Doing this solo tonight, so a little bit hard to need an extra hand. Anyway, this is going to be just right. We're empty nesters, and my wife won't have nothing to do with this dinner, so it's all up to me, and this is just going to be perfect. This is a one-man share of liver and onions tonight. So you can see those onions, boy, they're just right about there, and just getting soft. They're just about perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them off, and we'll get right into the liver part of this liver and onions meal. Alright, so we're finally back here where we can start carving up on this elk liver. I found my third arm, so I can be over here while the camera's over there. So anyway, talk about it a little bit. We soak it in water for a couple of days after we get it. It gets a lot of the blood out of it. This one's been more than that. I was out of town when my son harvested it, and this mark right here is just from sitting in the bowl. No big deal. So what I like to do is slice it about a quarter inch thick. I'm going to square up this end first. And then I'm going to take a couple of these off at about a quarter of an inch. This is fresh liver. This isn't the stuff you get in the store. It's not the stuff you get out of the freezer in the store. It's Idaho elk liver at its finest. got a little big. Alright, well, let's go ahead and start on those. I always like to just to drop them on a paper towel real quick, just to make sure I got the sizes where I want them. I'll take one more over the top. And I'll bring them over here. And like I said, this was flour, a little garlic powder, a little seasoning, salt, a little bit of sage. We'll go ahead and mix that all up. This is just a light, it's not even a breading, it's just kind of a dusting. So we're going to take that guy, we're going to put him on there. This is one of our favorite meals after a good hunt. Boys used to beg for it. I make sure I get both sides coated pretty good. We'll have some leftover flour. This is a ½ cup of flour is all. We'll have a little left over, which we'll find that works good later. We're just going to go ahead and set this in here. This is just some olive oil, a little bit of butter. While those are in there, I'll go ahead and get the next two going. And cook a whole pan at a time. Usually cook about medium heat. I like to go a little slow on it, just kind of let that hot oil sear it up a little bit. In a second I'll flip it over as soon as the moisture starts seeping up into the flour. Okay, I flipped the other two over and we're back here. You can see it's cooking up nicely. We'll get a little bit of juice. I typically don't like to go more than about a minute on each side. And I want this little pink inside here. Just flip those. I'm going to douse it in flour just one more time. Do a double douse. I'm going to kick these over. Whoa. Take this guy out and put him right back in here real quick. And there's no need to worry here. All we're doing is putting fresh meat in there anyway. So. Get him back on. Those back in there. The first meat my mom cooked that I actually remembered having. I remember begging her for that really good tender meat. So we get those back on, we're going to go just enough to brown them up. Doesn't take very long. You see it gets that nice golden brown. Turn it one more time and then we're going to be ready to get those things off there. so here we are. We've cooked a few more pieces. I'm going to take out. These are the last ones of the batch. And they look to be about perfect. The tenderness is there. It's going to be pink in the middle. Going to set them there. Now I can't waste all these juices. I don't like to waste anything. I got a little flour left over. Got some juices left over, so I'm going to go ahead and get that back in the pan. I use a wood spatula since I'm on cast iron. I guess I used the wrong one because I got a gasp out of the cameraman. I had the leftover flour that we had from the seasoning. Got the juices from everything in it. Stir that up. It's going to be a nice brown color. This goes good if you're going to serve it with mashed potatoes or something like that. Typically on a good old tough beef liver I would do this, but not necessarily on the elk. I'm going to do it just not to be wasteful. Once that's soaked up, we're going to add a little bit of fat to it. It's a little bit of milk, cream. Pour that in there. Stir that up and let it thicken, and we're going to call that a gravy there. I need a little bit more. It's easy to add a little bit more, and a little harder to take some out. Okay, so our next step is this thickens up a little bit and we get to the consistency we want. Still a little bit thick. I'll add a little bit more. What I'm going to do is take this out of the pan, and then I'm going to reintroduce everything back together just to warm everything up and make sure our flavors blend. Alright, so I got the gravy done and I got it looking better and cleaned up my pan a little bit. And we're going to kind of meld it all together. It's going to warm up a few of these pieces. Integrate and get those onions warm again. Throw those in there. I got one more piece over here that I think I better have for tonight. Throw that in there. Put the onions back in and cook off a little earlier. Let that warm up. I'm going to put a lid on it real quick just so it can warm up. Get those juices flowing a little bit. And when we return, we'll be plating it up. Okay, we got some heat on it. I'll stir it around just a little bit. Reach in here. We're going to plate these right over here. Rest of those onions on there. I'm going to go ahead and throw a Idaho baker on there. Pop him open. Little trick. Then we're going to go ahead and just add a little bit of gravy on the side. And there we have how to cook elk liver, onions, and gravy Idaho style.